Good afternoon. My name is Aiga Benfelde. I'm procurement manager in RB Rail. So I will close this exciting webinar with my presentation, touching some points related to CCS and energy subsystem procurements overview, and also, as Dirts mentioned, it's already a tradition to point out some guidance related to some do's and don'ts in the procurements. So let's start with the Rail Baltica Energy subsystem. So here you can see, and there is illustrated all the components of the energy subsystem. And it also includes Rail Baltica responsibility, where three disciplines are included: overhead power supply or overhead catenary system, railway traction substations or traction power supply, and also energy control command system. So these are the three main disciplines which are under RB Rail scope. And the main objective of the deployment of ENE subsystem is to ensure uninterrupted, reliable and safe power supply to the Rail Baltica line. And this means that whole scope of the Rail Baltica Energy subsystem will be included in one procurement procedure. So 870 kilometers of double track, which means approximately 2,000 kilometers of catenary, approximately 50,000 masts and 4,350 tons of copper. So whole scope will be procured under one procurement. At the moment, together with an engineer, the locations of railway traction substations have been fixed. So there are 10 substations. Here you can see on the right side in the map all of them. And also the technology is fixed. It is 2 times 25 kV static frequency converter technology, which also has been fixed for the ENE deployment. And below you can see how will increase the energy consumption in Baltic states. It's a significant increase, starting from 2.9 till 3.5%. If we speak about the timeline, then as you can see, and a deployment process started already in 2019 with development of ENE strategy. Starting from April last year, an engineer was in place, and the work continued with development of different documents and deliverables. So to enter into works procurement phase, and we plan to procure and announce the procurement in upcoming weeks. And the plan is to conclude the contract in Q4 of the next year. Also in the timeline you can see that right after the contractor will be in place, work on generic design will start. And then in parallel, design, construction and commissioning activities will be ongoing. They will be in parallel as whole line won't be constructed at the same time. So the start of the activity is the start of the first priority sections, and end of the activity is with the final sections of the Rail Baltica line. And with regards to control, command and signaling subsystem, here also you can see what is included in the scope of this procurement. So all systems, pretty wide scope, which includes all railway systems except the ENE scope what I presented in previous slides. So here you can see ETCS, which will be level 2 with a radio system, also interlocking ancillary systems, including hotbox detection and rail monitoring and other systems, then traffic management system and transmission, communication and power supply, including passenger information system and ticketing. If we speak here about the timeline, we are not in such mature position as for ENE deployment. So here we have contracted CCS engineer at beginning of this year. So Now only the work on the main deliverables has been started, and we plan to announce the procurement at some point end of this year, beginning of next year, and to conclude the contract in 2024. Also in this case, the activities for CCS works contractor will be in parallel. So as well, design, construction and commissioning, similarly to ENE. The activities will start with the first priority sections and end with the final sections here, because it will be dependent on finalization of civil works and ENE works as well. So this was very quickly about particular procurements, but yes, I would like to guide you through still some practicalities with regards to proposal preparation and submission. And first question, what I want to answer is where to apply. Already colleagues have mentioned, here you can see also the links to our Latvian e-tendering system, as we are procuring under Latvian public procurement law. Then this is Latvian e-tendering system. And as well, you can see a link to our RB Rail profile in the system, where you can find all ongoing procurement documents, also finished procurements and the procurement documents in those procurements. What is important, please register into this system if you haven't done it already, because all the application and proposal submission is through the system. No proposals or applications will be accepted what has been submitted outside the system. And it may take time to register, so even though maybe you don't have at the moment any particular procurement where you want to participate, still you can register and then apply when it will be needed. Then there is a line, or how to say, life before application and proposal submission and life after. So this is one limiting factor what I want to emphasize, because please be aware that you have to read carefully and be acquainted with all the information in procurement documents and all the requirements. If you don't understand something, or there are doubts on how to interpret some requirement or some information, please ask the question, because the Procurement Commission will be able to answer and clarify. However, when the proposal or application submission is there, the possibility for the Commission to clarify or allow you to clarify something from your procurement proposal documents will be much more complicated and may result in non-compliance of your proposal. It is also applicable to draft agreement, because this is also one of the annexes of procurement documents. And if you have any questions or doubts or concerns, or you want to emphasize and propose some amendments to the draft agreement, this also has to be done before the deadline of submission. Afterwards, if you will include this information in your proposal, Procurement Commission won't be able to consider that and change anything in the draft agreement. The same with regards to technical proposal. So always in procurement documents, one of the things is technical specification, which describes subject matter of the procurement and all the requirements with regards to this service or works provision. And your technical proposal should contain all information that Procurement Commission can determine if it is compliant with all minimum requirements of the technical proposal. So this means please be as clear and explicit as possible when you are describing your proposed solution or technology or equipment, so Commission can understand what you are proposing and that it is compliant with the requirements of the technical proposal. Also, the financial proposal is the part where you have to be careful. Usually we are providing templates for the detailed financial proposals. Usually it is an Excel spreadsheet, but still, even though all formulas are in, you have to usually add some additional positions or change the template, and you have to follow that all the respective formulas and calculations are correct after your changes. But of course, there are some cases when you are not allowed to change the financial proposal. So in the procurement documents, it will be clearly stated it is allowed or not. So in case it is not allowed, then you cannot change the template, merge some positions, or use a different type of cost breakdown structure, because then Commission won't be able to compare the proposals, and it may lead to a situation where as well your financial proposal can be assessed as non-compliant. So it's not only technical and financial proposal, of course, it's full package of the documents what you are submitting as your proposal. So this means that you have to cross-check all the documents what has been requested to be submitted, because again, there may be various situations, but overall there may be also situations when you have missed a document and you haven't submitted it in your initial application or proposal, and then it may lead to a situation when your proposal cannot be clarified because this document contains some significant intention or information which afterwards cannot be accepted by the Procurement Commission. So it may also lead to a situation where your application or proposal can be rejected. Regarding the partnerships, this is also a topic what I repeat in all the webinars, but I want to repeat it once again, because of course this is the form of cooperation what is acceptable for us, and you can of course establish a partnership to participate in our procurements, but there are some things what you have to consider. So most probably these will be long-term relationship, because most part of RB Rail procurements and contracts are long-term contracts. So if you are creating a partnership with particular company, you are actually establishing long-term relationship, and you have to be sure that this partner will be there and with the same aim and the same goal to deliver the contract. It is important also because you cannot change the members in the joint venture. It is not allowed, nor during procurement process, and also not later when you already perform under the particular contract. There are some exceptional cases as reorganization, but in general, yeah, as I said, this is a long-term relationship, so please carefully consider with whom you are creating the partnership. The next topic also is very common with the situations when a candidate relies on financial or technical capabilities of other companies to qualify. This is also acceptable. However, here the main thing what I want to emphasize is that this intention and this information should be clearly stated in your application or proposal. It means that from the documents, both from your side and from the side of that particular company, there should be an agreement or a confirmation that in case you will be awarded with contract rights, this company will provide you with the needed financial or technical resource or expertise on which you were relying during the procurement process. And this also is applicable for the holding companies. So it means even though you are two companies within the same holding, mother, daughter, sister, the relationship within the holding doesn't matter. You are considered as separate legal entities. Therefore, the same applies what I presented in previous slide. Still from your mother company or sister company, such confirmation on the resource passing should be included in your application. And the last, but not the least, what I wanted to update, because this is the topic what we are facing time to time in our procurements, and this also is something that may lead to exclusion of the candidates, so the tax debt thresholds. At the moment, as we are procuring under Latvian public procurement law, it's still applicable that if the company has a tax debt in Latvia or in the country of origin of the company which exceeds 150 euros, this company has to be excluded from the participation in the procurements. So starting from 1st January next year, amendments to Latvian public procurement law will come into force, and it will include also amendments of this requirement, which means that the law will step back to that formulation what is in current public procurement directive. So this means that a company which has tax debts not more than 150 euros in Latvia and tax debt below the particular threshold of their country of origin will not be excluded. So, for example, in your country of registration, the threshold to participate in public procurements is tax debt, I don't know, below 3,000 euros. It means that if you will have a tax debt in your country of origin less than 3,000 euros and in Latvia less than 150 euros, you won't be excluded from the procurement. But please be aware, this is something that will be into force starting from 1st of January next year. It means for the procurements which will be published after 1st of January. And with this update, I'm finalizing my presentation, and I think we can proceed with the next steps, and I'm looking forward to Girts.